Hello, welcome back to my channel. It's me, the Foreseer, and welcome to my channel if you're new. I'm so excited to share this journey. I've had a lot of folks just in passing ask me to share what I'm doing with my hair, and so I'm sharing. I'm not a licensed professional. I've just been a loose natural for longer than I can count, and now locked for about a year and a half now. And when I was a loose natural, I was able to grow my hair out really long. It was like 24 inches and probably more in some places, I think. And so anyhow, I'm sharing this journey with you. I'm just being honest, letting you know what I do, how I keep up with my hair. And I just wanted to say thank you so much to everybody who's tuning in and sharing those really kind, wonderful comments. It's so wonderful and so inspiring. I'm going to have to go through and share a couple of them one of these days because they're just really good advice for not just hair, just life as well. And I think it's helpful. And you all teach me and I share what I know and we meet in the middle. So anyhow, today we are talking about holey locks. Well, not just holey locks and just how to prevent weakening of your locks in general. I'm about 2 weeks from a retie, and usually during this time I like to go through my hair and just do inventory and see what needs to be fixed, what needs to be, maybe some need to be retied that are gotten a little looser. I just go in and I do inventory. And so lately I've been seeing a lot of Microlocs ladies in our community talking about, how do you prevent holes in your locks, or how do you fix holey locks, and what can you do to avoid your locks weakening. And so a big part of that is preventative maintenance. That's what I call it. I do preventative maintenance on my locks, and which basically is what I described, going in and doing inventory and checking and fixing and doing what I need to do. And so for those of you all who are considering a Microlocs journey, who are trying not to have to be in their hair, the only time you're not really in your locks is in between retightenings and preventative maintenance. And you gotta put the time in. You have to put the time into your hair in order to see results. If you love something and you put energy into it, it grows. If you have a seed and you want it to grow into a plant, you've got to spend the time nurturing it. If you don't, then you have to suffer the consequences of either trying to rehabilitate that plant or to try again with a new seed. And so, be really honest with yourselves. If you're not willing to put in the amount of time that it's going to take to do regimented reties and to go in and check in on your locks regularly, then it may not be the style for you. So I just want to be totally honest and let y'all know that's a real deal. You know what I'm saying? Keeping up with your maintenance. And so today we are going into my preventative maintenance and some of the things that can weaken your locks over time. And for me, it's two things, especially with locks so small. There are two different things that cause your locks to get weaker over time. One of them, for me and my small locks, are holes. And the other is bad budding. Okay, there's a good budding and there's a bad budding. And I'll go in and show you, it's not the best example, but it's definitely one that I need to take a look at. I'll show you one of them later in the video, but I'm gonna just describe the difference between the good budding and bad budding. Good budding is like, let me see. You see, this is good budding, especially for my small locks. It's good budding because, it's not, my whole lock is pretty much locked at this point. It's firm, you know what I'm saying? And, ooh, this is an end that I'm gonna retwist a little bit later, but I'll let me just do this while we're talking. And so, you know, there's that type of budding. That's the healthy budding. But every now and then you get buds on your locks that are like a chunk, a big old knot in the middle of your hair from budding. And I just wanted to explain a little bit about how that happens. It can happen in a couple of ways. What I've noticed most for me is I get those little bulbs around shedding, when my hair is like a piece shedded down, and then it kind of frayed out, and then it just kind of like, and then it sits on my lock, right? And that can cause weakness above or under your locks. And so that's something to really keep an eye on, because you can feel where it's weak between the parts that have the budding. And so that's one way that can be prevented. One way that can be prevented is through ensuring you're retightening often, because like say you have 2 months of new growth, say you've got this much new growth on your hair, and now you also have shedded hair inside of that lock, right? So some hair has left, and because you didn't lock when it was here and then it shedded, it would have gotten caught in the lock if it had shedded while there was less new growth. Now you've got more new growth, so that thing shedded and it slipped down, and then you went and you retightened the rest of it, and now you're left with this bulb in your hair, and that's not always the best, and it doesn't always happen so far up on the locks. A lot of times for me, it happens at the end or at the lower parts of my locks is where I tend to see it, because that's where I have the loose. This is where I started my hair, from loose natural hair, and so it's slightly different texture. It's slightly thinner. You know, there are some differences in the texture, and so you have to be really, really careful around those places, those spots, because there are areas of weakness that you really need to avoid. I think I have one back here. I think I've pinned for you to see, for me to take a look at later. There's one I'm going to be addressing. So you can see how it's you know, the size of the lock, and then all of a sudden here it gets thick, and then it gets really, really thin. These spots right here and right here become weak, and that can be a point where you might lose this over time. This might get thinner. This spot in between might get thinner and thinner and thinner, and that hair can just go whoosh, right off the end. So I'm going to show you all. If I find, because if I can't find it again, this thing will disappear. So I'm just marking it, and I'm going to show you how I fix instances like this. And as you can see, this is another case where bad budding happened. So this was loose, and it was thick all the way to the end, but because this wasn't a taut lock, half of this piece got caught up in here and became part of this section of hair. Hence how it's all of a sudden thicker. It's because this part, half of this twist, like I was just twisting one of my ends, was unraveled. And so you really do need to make sure your locks are sturdy straight throughout. So as to keep it nice and taut, and so you don't have a situation that can cause weakening of your locks. So next to the very holy part, holes in thick locks. So don't have any thick locks, but I have thicker locks, and then I have some thinner locks on my head. There are two different ways that I go about fixing if I have a hole in a lock. If it's a thicker one of my locks, I can just use my handy dandy lock needle, and I'm going to show you. Okay. Here you are. Okay, so I pulled a couple aside for us to work from, also because Yeah, we all know if you don't mark it, you won't find it. Okay, so let's see. I pulled these because I thought there was a hole in them. Yeah, you see it? There it is. There's the hole. Now this is a slightly thicker lock, and so all I do to fill that hole is I lock her up. Locked and loaded. And then, I'm sorry y'all, don't mind me. And then I go back to wherever that little hole was. Where'd it go, baby? All right. And I'm just gonna slip my needle right through the hole and pull it on through.
Right through the hole and pull it on through.
Now it looks like it can go through again, so I'm going to do it again. Et voila. The hole is gone. Okay, so I'll show you again because I marked a few. Okay, so this is the last one that I pulled. I'm like this. Oh, I found it. You see the hole? Let me go. There's another hole. We're gonna close it. So, my needle. Loop it on through. Okay. And there she is. Again, I'm just putting it right through the hole. I'm pulling it through. Boom. Otra vez. Let's do it again. Oh wait, I don't need to. Another thing that I like to do is sometimes I just run my finger down the length of a lock and just feel for weaknesses. And if I feel like there's a gap or a hole, or not even if there's a hole, if it's just like a soft spot or weak point in it, I just go in and I'll just add in and I'll just go straight through that point. Let me see, do I feel one on here? This is pretty good. Let me go down to the lower part. Okay. So if I felt a weak point here, I just went through. Ooh, pulled it through. And there it goes. Actually, I'm gonna take that one out. So there are cases where like, so when I was going through this whole process, I was like, oh, maybe I should tie knots on the ends of my knots or tie knots where I had weak points. That is not a good idea. I repeat, do not tie knots in your locks, especially if you have small locks. And that is because of what I told you before. It's like mimicking that bad budding process where you've got like it creates a weak point in your lock at the 2 points where you have that hole, that knot. And so you gotta, like, you gotta really look out for that. And so, okay, so that's one side. Now we're gonna go, now for the smaller locks, it's a whole different can of worms. I may even need to like readjust this. That's it. Oh, y'all, I just broke my tripod. I mean, like that sometimes. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to show you for the smaller locks. Now, the smaller locks, this tool can't fit inside of, let me pull this one out. This tool can't fit in between this. Do you see? I'm gonna get closer. It can't get in between that. This is too thick. It won't work. So the only thing, this is what I've learned, and this is just what works for me. You know, if it doesn't work for you, then don't do it. You know, consult with your loctician if you have one, you know. of course, but I'm just letting you all know what worked for me. The only thing small enough to get in between these two these two little, it's like they made their own little split locks. You see what I'm saying? Only thing small enough that I realized to get through that is a needle, like a sewing needle. And if you think about it, we crochet our hair. Our hair is like a blanket, you know, like a fabric. It's like fabric growing from us. And so did I lose it? So, oh no, because I let it go.
2 very boring minutes later.
Oh, hey, there it is. There it is. Okay, I won't make that mistake again. Oh, I almost didn't get her back. Okay. Where was I? So yeah, the only thing that can get through those two little spots is this. And it's like they've created their own little locks, right? So what I did is I got a needle and thread, and I've used both regular like fabric needle like thread and what we use for like weaving hair. This time I'm using this. I like the smaller fabric from the regular thread, but it's harder, and this kind of gives a little bit more like natural hair. I also keep my natural hair from like if I trim my ends or if I have a little scraggly end or something. I keep them because sometimes I can use them as thread in my hair. Like if I'm retwisting an end, I might like braid, you know, an end into some of the loose hair, or not the loose hair, but locks that, you know, little locks that may have come off. I'll show you one before we go. But anyhow, I want to show you how I'm going to bring this together. So I have, the thing with using the thicker weaving thread is that it can be really difficult to get it through a regular needle. So just have patience with yourself. Use your teeth, you know. I like push it in, like pull it through. Do what you gotta do, you know, don't be hard on yourself. It takes a couple tries. All right, so right below the lock, where it is an established lock, where the lock is still established, I'm gonna bring this through that. I'm not going through the hole just yet, and that's a little too far down. Okay, here we go. I'm not pulling it all the way through, and I did not knot the end. I didn't knot the end because that causes like those bulbs on your locks that can lead to potential weakening. So I'm pulling it through, but I'm not going to go all the way I'm not going to pull it all the way through. I'm leaving about that much. Okay. We're going to go back and cut this part off. Now I'm going to take this again through the still locked portion of my hair, and I'm holding back the little ends so they don't get caught. All right, so now I'm through. I'm going to gradually work up where there is an opening in the lock, just a little at a time. Make sure this doesn't fold on itself, okay, so that you don't have any bulbs. I have learned, because I've done this a couple times, and the first time I was so amazed that it worked, but it was not pretty. It was not pretty, so I've over time perfected this for you. I didn't want to just come on here like all green, like this works, and then showing you like a little jagged lock. That would not be cool. So I had to learn, y'all. Okay, so I'm working my way up, and then once I reach the top, I'm gonna go all the way up because I want to get onto the healthy side of the lock again. Go all the way up until you reach the properly locked part of the hair. Okay? All right, now I'm there. So I have gone into the properly locked portion. Oh no, I'm not. I still got one more. Did you see? I still have more. I'm gonna keep on going, y'all. All right, now I'm in the lock. I'm in the good part of the lock. So I'm gonna go one little loop again down, just to kind of solidify this so it doesn't unravel. And now I'm gonna get my baby scissors. Now you have to be so careful when you use scissors in your hair, okay? So careful. And so what you're gonna do is find the spot, hold this taut so you know what is what. I like to hold the base so alright, and there's still a little bit. I'll go in and I'll fix that later, this piece, because I don't want to do it looking into this camera because I'm not trying to cut off my hair. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to cut off this little part here, which is now become taut. You see? You see? And you don't have a knot. Here we go. Perfecto. See, look. And when I go back and I smooth that baby out up here, actually maybe I will. Perfect. Okay. So we went from whole to no hole. And it just feels like one seamless strip. Did that make sense for you all? Let me know in the comments. I can do another one for you all real quick while I have you. Here's another example of good budding. You know, it's getting a little bit thick right here. Right here, it's a little bit thick. But it's mostly uniform all the way around. There's no like ginormous budding. Okay, but we do need to fix this. And you can see it's like 2 holes. All right, so again, we're gonna start where the hair is still locked because we need a snug part to get for the thread to hold on to. So we're pulling it through. Not the whole way, stop with about 1 inch so you can cut it off so we don't end up with a bulb. And then we're going to pull this through. All right, now I'm gonna work my way up the lock again, little by little, pulling the 2 parts. Mira. Okay. See, sometimes if I don't hold that, sometimes it gets like the other side of the little thread gets caught under, and you don't really want that. But I think I got it. Okay. Yes. All right. Now I'm back in business. I'm gonna keep working my way up the lock. How do you all take care of your holy locks? Do you pray for them? I pray for your locks. I pray they're healthy and strong and beautiful. I pray that you have the energy and time to care for them. I do. I really do. I wish you all the most in your journey because, you know, this is all self-love, I think. The other side, uh-oh, look. Oh, wait, no. This just needs to be retightened. Look, I've got about 1 inch. I got a little more to go. But anyhow, so we've reached the end. We're gonna go down 1 more. just to make sure it's secure and it doesn't unravel. Up, I'm gonna cut the end. This is the point where everybody in the room gets quiet. Everybody in the room gets quiet. Every time it gets better. Okay, and let's do this other one. All right. So I have shown you how to repair, or how you don't have to. I'm just showing you how I do it. If you decide to try the same thing, then that's up to you, okay? All right, so you have seen the 2 ways that I repair my holey locks that need more attention. They're holey locks because they need prayer, and prayer means they need your energy. To make them whole again. You know what I'm saying? Okay. All right, so now we've got the other one that I showed you that is budding gone wrong, which is, in this one, the end of my hair got swallowed up and it has created this thick bulge in my lock. Okay, so I'm going to fix this because over time, what'll happen is either this end will slip out or it'll slip out from here, or this will get eaten up. The little scraggly end will get eaten up, and then I'll just have a really thick bulb, like long thick bulb on the end. And no, not for me. Oh. And we don't want that. Yo, I thought it was about to happen again. Like, I think I'm gonna edit that part out where I was looking for the lock, but what's the real deal? So my bad. The tool I'm using a little thumbtack, you know, for stuff. Oh, you can see my nails are done right now. When I'm retying, I take my nails off because the hair can get caught. So look, all right, so I'm using this little thumbtack. I'm gonna go through and I'm just gonna start pulling out the end, right? Little by little. I need something that is sharp. And look, it's just like when you're detangling loose natural hair. You gotta start at the end and you just work your way up slowly. We're in no rush here. I'm not in a rush. I mean, you rush and you make mistakes. That's one thing I've learned from this journey. When you rush, you make mistakes. And then you gotta figure out. There are times when I'm doing my locks where I'll accidentally put a knot at the root of my locks. Usually I can tell the moment it happens and I don't pull it all the way through, so I can just loop it out. But there have been times where I pulled it through and ended up with a knot at the top of my root. What I did, if I could, like usually I'll just stick this through where the knot is and then just pull it out. That's the most effective thing that I usually do to get those those when I accidentally put a knot in my root undone. Now, if it's too tight and I can't get it out, then I wait till the next retie when it's grown out a little bit, and then I do the same thing. I stick the needle through, space out the middle, and then pull out the knot. Like I said, those little knot bulbs can become a real problem for the integrity and the strength of your lock. So for me. Now, I haven't seen many videos where people repair their holey locks. Sorry, I don't know why I laugh when I say that. I haven't seen a video where I've seen somebody add thread to their hair to fix their holey locks. And that's cool. because I'm just doing what works best. I'm not trying to do what everybody does. If it works for my hair, I'm gonna try it, and that's where I'm at. Hopefully I'll get to the point where I'll be able to find a way to thread my natural hair, because that would be really awesome to be able to do. So you can see the progress I'm making. I haven't unraveled an entire lock. I haven't had to. It's usually just the ends. The most I've had to do is like half a lock to get to something that I neglected and let it grow too far. But I didn't see it, so, my man. I'm going to zoom in. So I'm just going through little by little. And I can, it's funny because you can almost feel the moment that you reach the part where the hair started folding on itself, or where hair might have, shedded from your hair. Also, if there are cases where half of my hair is thick, well, not half, but like say this portion of my hair is thick and then it gets really thin and then there's another thick part. When that happens, I usually reinforce my hair with either my natural hair that I've held on to, like locks or pieces from when I've cut my locks. And yes, I have cut my locks already. I've cut them once because as your locks form, they shrink. They kind of like bunch up on themselves a little. Not a whole, well, I mean, it depends, but they bunch up on itself, especially if you're starting from loose natural hair. And when they bunch up, you lose length, and that's fine. But there are cases when that gets a little out of hand. I'm back, and I have gotten out that big funky part, right? That was possibly going to cause some thinning, maybe not, cause some weakening points in my locks. And so now that it is, the hefty, like, hard part has been, like, thinned out. Oh, Lord. Okay. Y'all, I just dropped the little thumbtack, and I'm just hoping I'm not sitting on it. Why did I do? Okay. That could have been a problem. So here we go. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna go back and rebraid the end. So now that this part has been, the part that could have potentially caused damage is gone, I'm gonna go in and I am going to braid this, right? I'm gonna braid this end. And then I'll show you, I didn't lose too much. I only lost, to pluck it down. And at the end of the day, you really just want your locks to be healthy, so do the preventative maintenance. You don't want something to turn around and get worse on you, because you neglected it. And if you feel something that doesn't really feel like it's jiving with you, like you just don't feel like it's like working with your lock, then fix it. Make it what you want it to be. I want my locks to be pretty uniform, and because of their size, it makes them a little unique in how I'm choosing to handle them. And like I said, there's good budding and bad budding. At least there is for me. So there might be for you too. Be honest with yourself, and make the adjustments where you need to. I've seen examples where women have gotten braids on their Microlocs. I don't necessarily recommend it, or I probably wouldn't do it on my hair. But if somebody were like, hey, what do you think about me getting box braids on my hair? I'd recommend that they do them on freshly retightened hair. because box braids can get pretty tight, and it can actually pull out the roots. It can, and if you have hair that needs to be retightened, that's loose, and it's all tight inside of a box braid, it can literally like pluck out hairs. And then when you take out your box braids, you end up with way more shedding, because it wouldn't really be shedding, it'd be your hair being pulled out by the tightness of the box braids, you know. And so it's something to be really cautious about. So I would even recommend, if you get them, to tell the person who's working on your hair to not pull the roots really tight, because you don't want to jeopardize your locks for a style that's temporary, you know, because your locks are mostly permanent. They are for me. Okay, so I have fixed this one. It is now more uniform and not so, the weak spots are gone. There's no longer a weak spot. And before, we had that little stringy end and that, you know, now it's more gradual to the stringy. You see? Anyhow, that's, I think, I'm just looking at my notes. That's pretty much everything that I have for you all today. I'll come back in a few weeks and let you know about retying. Oh, while I'm here, you know, why don't we just get a 360? I think we tend to like that. Or I do when I'm watching other people's locks. I think it's gorgeous. Oh, I want it all to fit. Hold on. Okay. Oh, another thing to think about is I don't do braid outs very often, because braid outs don't like taking them out and running your fingers through them, because you want that definition. And so I need to run my hands through my hair at least every day, or close to it, because I'm always checking for locks that are trying to marry. Okay, and if I'm not able to pull my locks apart and at the root, because I will go straight into the root. But yeah, there's just I'm not following any grid or anything right now. I'm just playing around, and I'm hoping you can see it. Hoping you can see it. Okay. I hope that was okay, because I couldn't see what I was doing at all. All right, y'all. I hope you are having a wonderful day. I know this video was long, but I'll put the chapters down below so you can just hop around.